Hi, Mike from Muskie Train again. We've been talking to you about tuning lures. Those are basically straight bodied lures. Now we need to talk about a jointed lure or an articulated lure. Basically it has a joint in it, it makes it wiggle. You have a couple of different situations here now. On a straight bait, that bait doesn't have the articulation, so it's going to swim. Sometimes with an articulated bait, it loses its mojo, we'll say. It doesn't pound, it doesn't wiggle. So besides getting it to tune straight, we have to tune the wiggle back into the lure. So once again, if we cast this lure out and it's not tracking straight, we're going to use our bending the eye method to get the lure back in tune. That is not going to help us put the wiggle back in the lure. We're going to have to turn the screw eyes in order for us to get some jiggle back in the lure. Okay, so let's, I put this lure in the water and I know it's not tracking straight. You can't do two operations at once. First of all, get the lure to tune and track straight. Once again, you want it coming back straight at you. So that's the first thing we're going to do. After we get the lure tuned and it's tracking straight, then we're going to put the jiggle back into it. This is going to be a few minutes here, so just bear with me. So I've bent the screw eye in order to get the lure to track straight. Okay? Now the lure, I don't think you can see it, it has no wiggle. It almost looks like a glide bait. It's just kind of surfing. So now what we're going to do is we're going to check our belly split rings or screw eyes first. First of all, we're going to put our pliers on our belly and we're going to make sure that the lure is in line, not only with the split ring in the same plane, but we're also going to bend it over to make sure that it's coming straight out the bottom. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab the tail screw eye or wire and we're going to make sure that that wire is in line with the center of the bait. Next, I'm going to look at the joint. I'm going to look at the tail section, and I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to make sure that the bait is in line with the screw eye, and I'm just looking at the jaws of the pliers and running straight up. Now, it's a little harder with the main body screw eye because it is perpendicular. So the first thing you're going to do, you're going to make sure, you're going to look at it and you're going to make sure the jaws of the pliers go from 3 through the center to 6, like on a clock. So we make sure that. Then we've got to make sure that the screw eye is bent straight. So we're going to bring it up so that it goes straight in. Now I don't need to cast the bait at this point, I just need to put it in the water. And it's going to start to get its jiggle back. Now I noticed as I'm doing that it's still kind of dead in the water. And I'm going to look at this and I'm going to see that when I bent that, I accidentally turned it. So I need to turn it so that the screw eye is back in line. You notice that we do not use split rings. Whenever you put that link in there, you lose action in the bait. Now I will tell you that sometimes you need to clip that hook or open that up and put a split ring on it. Because when a fish does hit it, if he T-bones it, sometimes he'll press that hook against the backside. If you're getting a lot of hits and you're not getting hookups, you need to put a split ring on there. Okay, back to our initial conversation. Okay, I'm still not having any wiggle. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start turning the screw eye in the nose. Now this is going to be a compound task. So as I turn that screw eye, I'm going to get the jiggle back in there, maybe. Okay, as I was tuning, I noticed that my nose screw eye was sticking out too far. So what I did is I turned it 1/2 turn and put it in further. Now, once I did that, now my bait is tuned in both directions. Okay? It has its wiggle, and I'm not sure if you can see that in the water.
Yep.
That the tail is wiggling, and I'm going kind of slow so that you can see it. There's some leaves. you can see the tail wiggling. And I'm just going slow so that the camera can catch it. Okay? Now what I'll do is I've tuned the lure in two directions. One, I've tuned it so that it runs straight, and I've tuned it so that it has some wiggle. Now, I'm still going to have to cast it out now and make sure that the lure is swimming correctly. Now, the good thing about a jointed lure here is by turning that nose screw eye after I put the jiggle in it and bending it, now what I can do is I can get that lure to walk or hunt. What I mean by that is the lure is going to not only track, but as you reel it in, it's going to kind of do this. That is great for open water trolling. The reason that is great is because when you have a lure that tracks in a perfectly straight line, you're only covering that much of the water column at whatever specific depth. Now, when you tune your lure and you learn how to tune your lure so that they can hunt or walk, which means now they're doing this, now you are covering 3 feet of water, 6 feet of water. When you're fishing a lake like Lake St. Clair and they're not relating to structure, they're relating to bait, that might trigger that big fish to hit. Now, you can do that with any bait. You're just going to have to take some time to play around with it. The most people don't take the time in the spring or in the fall. They just want to catch fish. If you take the time to go out to the dock, go to a swimming pool, go to someplace where there's clear water, and really learn what those lures do, you can become a real artist at tuning. When you look at charter boat guys, when you look at professional guides, and you say, why does that guy catch so many fish in this area? How is that guy out fishing me? I'm running the same bait. How does he do that? He's doing that by getting his bait to run differently. So he's tuning it up. When I say tuning it up, he's making the bait really wiggle. Or he's tuning it down. He's slowing that bait down so it doesn't wiggle so much. And you can do that by tuning screw eyes. You can make your bait wiggle more by putting smaller hooks on. You can make your bait run slower by putting bigger hooks on. You need to learn all these subtle tricks. That's what makes the professional guys so much better. And when you go on a guided trip, that's what you really need to pay attention to. You'll notice that some guys put a split ring on the front, some guys don't. You need to pay attention to all those things. Hey, if you want to get in contact with us, or you have a question about tuning, feel free to contact me. I'm Mike Mordas. You can reach me at the office at 330-297-1158, or you can reach me via email at muskietrain@aol.com, and that is muskietrain with an IE. Okay, feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Also, come back and take a look at our website at www.muskietrain.com. We're always putting tips and tricks on there. We'll help you as much as we can. Thanks.